Dr. Narcissist. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I've explained to you that there are certain environments, certain fields, certain occupations and professions that attract narcissists because they enable access to the prime aims, control, fuel, character traits and residual benefits, better than others. Politics is an obvious example of that. By getting one's hands on governmental, military power, this enables the assertion of control over millions of people. It allows vast reservoirs of fuel to be dipped into and consumed. It allows access to so many different character traits and, of course, oodles of residual benefits such as money, networks, the utilization of certain information and so forth. Accordingly, politics attracts many of our kind because it caters so well to the prime aims. The entertainment industry is similar. Film, television, stand-up comedy, successful YouTube channels. The world of entertainment similarly caters to the needs of the narcissist. There are other areas such as the law, the military, law enforcement, and medicine that attract narcissists. It's not an exhaustive list. There are others where you will find more narcissists than usual, but medicine is one in particular. It allows the control over people because of the level of trust that is placed in the medical profession, particularly doctors. Although there is increasing skepticism about the level of knowledge, for the most part, many people accept what they are told by a doctor because they are the expert. And invariably, they're in a situation whereby their health is threatened, so often to the point of terminal problems, and therefore fear and anxiety looms large, meaning that the relevant person places their absolute trust in that individual to ensure that they look after them. This means that the individual's vulnerability can be used against them, making them particularly easy to control. There's lots of fuel on offer in the medical profession, not only, of course, from those ever so grateful patients, but from their family as well. Thank you so much for everything that you did for our father. You made his last few hours much more comfortable for him. Or, you're amazing, doctor, the way that you brought him back from the brink. Other colleagues praising the abilities of that medical professional, often rightly acknowledging the brilliance of that individual. Thus, there's plenty of fuel and, of course, situations in GP surgeries, consulting rooms, and particularly in hospitals are areas fraught with emotion, fear, anxiety, relief, joy, nervousness, gratitude. You're our last hope, doctor. Can you save her? They are places with fuel flowing from a variety of different sources. There's plenty of access to character traits. The doctors, the medical professionals meet lots of different people, and of course, lots of residual benefits. It's not a badly paid profession to be in. Indeed, with some instances, top surgeons, etc., making huge amounts of money. It allows the management of a facade of being kind and caring, a facade of being an angel, a facade of superior brilliance. It allows access to particular networks that come with the status of being a medical professional. And therefore, it's no surprise that medicine draws plenty of narcissists to it. It can be seen both in doctors and nurses. For instance, my fantastic series about the analysis of Lucy Letby, the baby killer, demonstrated the presence of a narcissist there. But here, we're going to examine the circumstances where we have a doctor who is a narcissist, and to provide you with instances of how he has utilized his position to further the prime aims, and the manners in which his narcissism stands out for us. It appears in the Telegraph newspaper and is written by Michael Searles, and the headline is, Cambridge-educated GP had sex with 6 different women in his consulting room. What a lad. A Cambridge-educated GP has been accused of having sex with at least 6 women at his doctor's practice, the tribunal has heard. Dr. Thomas Plimmer, aged 40, has been accused of engaging in sexual activity in his consulting room at a GP surgery in Swindon. Now, of course, that would show a complete lack of boundary recognition, a lack of accountability for his behaviours, a sense of entitlement. It would allow access to the residual benefit of pleasure from having sex, fuel from people's reactions. He apparently also lied about the medical condition of family members to juggle affairs, showing deceitful, manipulative behaviours. The tribunal was told how he abused his position, was a regular liar, lack of accountability, manipulations, and on one occasion threatened to slit a woman's throat if he was referred to the General Medical Council, which regulates doctors' medical licenses, use of threat to bring about control. The tribunal hearing, which was hosted online by the Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service, was told that Dr. Plimmer began a sexual relationship with a vulnerable colleague in 2018 and abused his position, lack of boundary recognition, assertion of control, lack of emotional empathy. Mark Monaghan, presenting the case on behalf of the GMC, said Mr. Plimmer had shown a colleague a video of him having sex with another woman without warning. Triangulation, lack of boundary recognition, sense of entitlement, provocation. After this, the doctor tried to kiss and tried to touch her. Lack of boundary recognition, lack of emotional empathy, provocation. He would come into her room with his trousers undone and flirt with her. Flirtation, lack of boundary recognition. He said the woman walked into Dr. Plimmer's consulting room to find him performing sexual acts on multiple occasions. Inappropriate behaviour, sense of entitlement, lack of boundary recognition. The tribunal heard that he would frequently send her explicit videos, hoovering, lack of boundary recognition, and that there was sexual behaviour with the colleague on a weekly basis. Dr. Plimmer admitted to these claims, but said it was always consensual. Accordingly, he clearly accepts that he engaged in this behaviour, his narcissism undoubtedly seeing that there was no way that he could utilise denial as an appropriate first line of the twin lines of the narcissistic defence, but instead fell back on suggesting that actually it was with agreement and therefore there was no problem. On one occasion, the tribunal heard, Dr. Plimmer tried to console the woman who was clearly distressed by putting an arm around her, leading her to his consulting room to cheer her up, and putting her hand on his genitals, lack of boundary recognition, rudimentary physical manipulation. The tribunal then proceeded to hear that Dr. Plimmer met several women on dating apps, use of hunting grounds, and invited them into his office. Inappropriate behaviour, lack of boundary recognition, where they engaged in sexual acts during office hours. A woman known only as Miss B said she had assumed they would go somewhere for coffee after they met online on New Year's Eve 2019. However, it was heard that he made a mug of tea, locked the door, and she performed a sex act on him. Mr. Monaghan said she became uncomfortable as she could hear people walk past. The tribunal was told that Dr. Plimmer met another woman on a dating app in May 2018, use of hunting ground, Miss C, and they dated for 2 years, which included meeting her parents. Mr. Monaghan said that Miss C later became concerned about his refusal to meet when Dr. Plimmer invited her to his surgery and had sex with her. Mr. Monaghan continued that by this time he had become less responsive because he had moved in with another woman, Miss D, whom he'd met in January 2019. Juggling intimate partners, many intimate partners, narcissistic indicator. The tribunal heard that Dr. Plimmer was a frequent, plausible and regular liar. One of the excuses was that his mother had several strokes that were serious and required her to be in a rehab facility, he said. Utilisation of lies, triangulation. He was accused of lying about his brother being seriously unwell on a separate occasion to Miss D. These excuses were deliberate lies to allow him to juggle and see other women instead, Mr. Monaghan argued. Dr. Plimmer then met Miss E on a dating site in January 2021, twice sending her unsolicited explicit photographs, sense of entitlement, lack of boundary recognition, that she could tell the picture were taken at work, the tribunal was told. A sixth woman, Miss F, was threatened by Dr. Plimmer, the tribunal heard, saying that he knew where she lives, and if she takes me to the GMC, I'll slit her throat. Use of threat to nullify threat to control. These are just some of the allegations that have been placed against this individual, who has admitted the behaviours but has stated that they were consensual. Notwithstanding the fact that they were consensual, the fact of having sex in his office during work time shows a lack of boundary recognition, a sense of entitlement, and a lack of accountability. He regularly uses hunting grounds to have a number of intimate relationships, and this all supports the behaviour of a narcissist, and one who is utilising his profession in order to draw women to him in the pursuit of the prime aims. The tribunal is currently still in session, and undoubtedly more information will come out that will support the stance that this individual is a narcissist. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.